Hi everyone, I'm Steve Stoller.
And I'm Shannah Haley, and this is Inside Plano, where we take you behind the scenes of our city.
We'll introduce you to the faces and places who help make this a great place to live.
And give us lots of reasons to love Plano.
Well, hello, Steve Stoller.
Hi Shannah,
Hey,
how are
welcome.
you?
I'm good and kind of excited that here we are hitting another podcast. Here in December of 2021. It means that 2021 is finally drawing to an end, and here's to better days ahead, right?
Absolutely. Are you getting into the holiday spirit?
Well, that's a tough question. In some ways, yes. We had some changes in our family this year, so we lost some family members, and so some things feel a little weird, because you don't have your normal activities. But I did decorate the house. I promised myself I was not going to. I was going to keep it very low key. And over the Thanksgiving break, I guess I felt a little energetic, and the next thing I knew, there were twinkling lights and red and green and gold all over the house. And so maybe a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. Once trees start going up and decorations and lights in the neighborhood and all the commercials on TV, it's hard to get away from it, but it definitely puts you in the holiday spirit.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and, I actually am looking forward to starting to get out to some of our favorite Plano retailers and doing our shopping, because I this is one of the first years I've done no shopping at all, so I'm completely unprepared for gift giving, and so I need to get busy with it, but fortunately, we have really great merchants and really great local businesses, so I can get that done if I can just carve out a little time to
And
do
the
it.
good news is that a lot of things are coming back for the
Yes,
holidays, things that
yes.
unfortunately last year we had to do virtually. And one of them is
Yes.
the Dickens Christmas, which is in downtown Plano. Last year we had to do a virtual tree lighting. This year we're back live in person. The mayor's going to be there with several council members. I'm fortunate enough they asked me to MC the event, and that should be a lot of fun. It always is. And that really puts you in the spirit for the holidays.
That's
Yeah.
the truth, and it's on Saturday this year too, so I think that's really fun too. You don't have to worry about trying to juggle, the work day or school day and then get over to the event. You can just go at your leisure on Saturday, and that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's such a nice environment out there by the little pond in Haggard Park. But we
Yeah.
got many more events for the holidays coming up.
Absolutely. Like you said, things are coming back. For one thing, by the way, you can go catch lights anywhere in town. There's some really great houses that you can drive through. And I'm not talking just about Deerfield, which of course is a classic, but
Mhm.
there's some great houses. A lot of our shopping centers have wonderful lights set up. But here's something that's super fun. The Plano Community Band is doing a holiday celebration performance at the Sam Johnson Recreation Center. Of course, that's our recreation center for adults 50 and over. And there is a fee associated with that because it's a big holiday event, but that'll be a fun one. And that's December 9th. And then I love this idea. Once kids get out of school for the holiday break, it's fun for just a few days. And then you're like, okay, everybody needs an activity. Well, Plano Parks and Rec has an activity. They actually have a Christmas holiday art camp. It's for kids 5 to 13 years old. It's going to be at Carpenter Park Recreation Center. So that's a great way to keep your kids busy, maybe out of your hair while gift wrapping is happening and final preparation. That's December 20th through the 23rd.
Shauna, have you and Kelly ever made your own Christmas ornaments?
Yes, I'm just actually gonna tell you, we're not crafty, but one thing that we do is when we travel, and you are like we are, we love to travel, and we pick up a Christmas ornament or something that we can make into a Christmas ornament everywhere that we travel. So
Hmm.
our whole Christmas tree is really a record of our journeys together as a married couple.
Oh, that's great. Well, if you're into it or if you're even not into it and want to try it, we actually have a creative event at Schimmelfinnig Library on
Mm,
December 21st. They're calling it an Ornament Extravaganza where you can make your own ornaments.
that's fantastic, and all events at the library are free, so that's a great family activity to go do together.
And then, of course, we have all of our fun New Year's Eve activities, which are coming up too. Follow Plano Public Library for details because they just have an endless number of events throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, and rumor on the street is that they even have an escape room for teenagers to kind of break out of 2021. So I think you're going to want to stay tuned to what the library has planned. Some pretty fun stuff. Hey, we were talking about Christmas trees. Let's talk about trees in general. And I feel like on the podcast, we've talked about trees quite a bit, but this is actually, it's just been a big thing, right? Since the February storm killed so many trees, people are finally starting to take some trees out. I think as summer went through the day, and trees didn't come back and they were starting to die. We had a fairly big windstorm and a lot of trees fell down, kind of made it like, okay, we need to take some trees out. And so we know people are doing tree trimming, tree removal. And one thing that we think is important that you know is when you contract with a contractor to have your tree taken down, because usually these are big projects that you can't do yourself, it's best to go ahead and pay your contractor to haul away the pile of tree trimmings and the stump, like all of that. Have them take that away. It's really likely going to save you a lot of time in the long run. And maybe Steve, you can explain why that is.
Sure. So what's happening is the city's public works staff is currently running behind schedule due to the incredibly high volume of calls that they received after the winter storm. Wait times are expected to become even longer as more requests come in for tree debris removal. So if you opt to wait for the city crews, you might schedule a special paid collection for piles that are larger by 6 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. Now, there's guidelines for how you need to prepare your collection piles for pickup, and you can find a link to that information in the show notes.
Yeah. So cheaper, maybe, maybe not, but definitely easier, time saving, all kinds of things.
Bottom line, you'd use a contractor right now, you're going to get the tree debris removed a lot quicker.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we had a bond referendum in the spring, and one of the propositions that passed dealt with the council chambers, renovating those, addressing a lot of different issues in there, and a lot of them were ADA related. And so there's funding for that, and the improvements are focused on accessibility, audio visual betterment, which means improvements, and security issues. Now, the city is moving forward with this project, and we're hosting a public meeting. It's going to be this month, December 16th, from 6 to 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Now, we know that not everybody can make it in person. Don't worry. We're hosting the meeting online as well, so you can attend online or you can attend in person. The meeting is going to include a presentation about the planned project, and it's an opportunity for anyone to ask questions and provide feedback. You remember the council chambers where council meetings happen, it's where planning and zoning meetings happen, a lot of public facing. So this really is the public's council chamber, and we want to hear your opinion. That survey that they're doing during the meeting, they're also going to post online so that if you can't attend, watch the meeting, provide your feedback. We also have a project webpage. It's already up and running. It has details about the projects and it has a link to the survey. And we have all of that information in the show notes for you.
Shannah, how about a great idea for a holiday gift?
I said I hadn't shopped yet.
Well, Plano Parks and Recreation memberships provide access to all the recreation centers, swimming pools, and the Plano Parks and Recreation system. Monthly memberships as low as $19 a month for an adult resident, and they also have affordable family packages available. So fitness, fun can be part of everyone's new year. Everyone, of course, makes their resolutions, and we have a link to how to register in our show notes.
Speaking of pools, one that is still under construction is the Oak Point Recreation Center pool. I don't know if you checked out their drone footage and drone shots that they put on their Facebook page the other day. Man, that project's going to be so cool. And I just felt like we had to tell people about it because it's like this hidden gem. It's going to have a dual entry wave pool for all ages and ability levels. There'll be a splash pad, very popular with families in Plano. There's an elevated play structure, a family leisure pool, tons of shade structures. They're going to rent cabanas. Talk about awesome. And of course, much more. And they think that that pool will be ready this summer. So summer 2022. Hopefully, the weather will cooperate. Outdoor projects, weather can have an impact on. You can find all the details and those pictures that we were talking about. They've set up a whole project page for the Oak Point Outdoor Pool, and we put a link to that on our show notes. That's going to be an awesome one.
I've seen some artist renderings. It's going to be awesome. And you add that pool to what we already established over at Jack Carter, and we're going to have some incredible swimming pools in the city.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the libraries. We talked about some of the events they have already. Your bond dollars are at work there. We've talked about the construction continuing at the Davis Library. And now we've reached the most intensive and disruptive phase of construction at Davis.
Yeah, so as a result, as of Saturday, December 4th, Davis Library is going to be temporarily closed until that construction project is finished. We do expect that because we're closing the library to allow the contractors to really kind of double down and get through that work, that it's going to speed up the project overall and save some money. So we expect it to reopen in early spring 2022. So one thing that we want to make sure, don't take your library materials back there to return. Don't do donation drop-offs. That location is closed until it's open again.
It just made the most sense. And as always, the top priority is safety.
Yep. Well, and I think that bond dollars at work is maybe the theme of this show, because today we have a special guest to talk about bond dollars that are getting underway at another project, Harrington Library, right, Steve?
That's right. Shannah, I don't know if you realize this, but construction is also underway at Harrington Library.
Yes, yes,
So
indeed.
with us today, our special guest is Melissa Shadowens, who's the library manager over at Harrington. Melissa, thank you very much for joining us and telling us a little bit about what we can expect with all the changes coming to the library.
Thank you for having me.
We always like to start our interviews by asking our colleagues to tell us one thing about them that we didn't know previously. And we've heard some pretty interesting things. So what do you got?
Well, basically, I think the one interesting thing that's more recent for me is that I am an avid baker.
Oh.
I've been making lots of bread, as you can imagine, since 2020. Yeah, I've been experimenting in the kitchen quite a bit with that.
Well, I know Sean and I agree on this, that anytime you want people to sample your goods, we're always welcoming you with open arms.
Absolutely. I will bring you some for sure.
Well, you're the manager of Harrington. Isn't Harrington our oldest library in the city?
It is. It is the first and oldest library. Actually, Harrington was built in 1969. We celebrated the 50th anniversary of the library just a few years ago. And it's named in the recognition of Gladys Harrington and the Federation of Churchwomen of Plano, who set up the first blending library in the Plano Community House in 1955.
I got to tell you, I actually had the opportunity to meet Gladys Harrington when she was alive, and I did an interview with her for a story. And the story was that she had voted in every single election since she was eligible to vote. A pretty amazing woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Somehow not surprising to hear that about Ms. Harrington. Well, we did say that the library is under construction, and so that's pretty exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in this renovation and expansion?
Sure. So basically, we're renovating and expanding to better serve our community. The $5 million project was funded by the 2017 voter approved bond referendum. And we are looking to add some dedicated space, including a renovated children's area, children's program room. There'll be a dedicated children's program room going forward. There's going to be a dedicated space for teens, new study rooms, which is totally new for Harrington Library. That's going to make it easier to research projects, prepare classroom assignments for some of the students that like to come use the library. Additional meeting rooms that will provide more collaborative space to meet and connect. And we are fortunate that we are getting a new roof and an HVAC. So that'll be fun.
A little noisy while they're working on that, but very necessary, right?
I have promised the staff that I will buy foam earbuds for everybody when that happens. So yes.
can imagine. Well, tell us, I can only imagine that because you have said there's a lot of stuff moving around and getting expanded. So surely not everything is available during this project. So what is available to patrons and what might not be available to them?
So, available services currently include holds pickup, 3D printing services. We do have a 3D printer here on site, and checking out new materials. We have STEAM kits that are available for checkout, children's and young adult materials, DVDs, and the Spanish collection for all ages are available, including our ESL collection. Um, and there's limited access to computers and printing. We're not accepting donations at this location currently, and so patrons can take their donations to Haggard, Parr, or to Schimmelfinnig Library.
But Melissa, the library will actually stay open during construction.
Yes, so the plan is that the library is going to remain open for the duration of construction at this time.
And if people want to see some artist renderings or get a sneak peek of what exactly is going to be done, where should they go to see that?
They can go to the library's website at planolibrary.org. We have a button that says the Harrington Renovation Project, so they can click on that button. It'll take them to a page, and we have a really cool drone video they can check out there also to just kind of oversee the library and the neighborhood. It's really beautiful to see.
I did want to ask, you mentioned donations aren't available. Steve and I know what that means. Some of our podcast listeners might not understand what the library means by donations. What do you guys typically take donations for? What is that about? And why can't you accept them there for right now?
So that's a great question. The library takes donations year round. We usually do a big book sale towards the end of the year. We just had one at Haggard Library. And people bring their donated materials to us, and a lot of the time all those funds go back to the library, and they help fund STEAM kits, and this all is done through our friends of the Plano Library. We take donations all year round, but with the limited space that we have right now, that's why we're having to defer donations to other locations. We just don't have the space right now.
Got it. Well, tell us when we should expect the library to be all polished up, open, and ready to go in its new format.
It's going to look absolutely beautiful. It will be done towards the end, late 2022 next year.
Oh,
Melissa, is there anything else you want us to know about this project before we let you go?
Well, we're really just excited about this new renovation expansion for the community, and we're excited to continue to help our patrons find what they need at the library.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on our podcast, Inside Plano. This was our resident baker and library manager over at Harrington Library, Melissa Shadowens. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Well, we love Melissa Shadowens. We love Harrington Library, and it's definitely true. Lots and lots of construction going on in Plano, right, Steve?
Yeah, Melissa is one of those people, and we have quite a few of them here at the city, that always seems to have a smile on her face.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we hire for that kind of personality. We want people who love to serve and enjoy their jobs. And that actually reminds me of something, Steve. You've heard about a little thing called the labor shortage that's impacting everyone in America right now. Well, it's hitting the city of Plano too, and we have a ton of job listings. And I can think of nothing better than to have people who live in Plano or friends and fans of Plano come work with us here in Plano. We're always looking for a few good coworkers. So I encourage people to go to plano.gov and check on the jobs page and look at some of the jobs. I think the last time I looked, some 30, 40 jobs were on that page. We would love to have you join us. Our value is serving. We appreciate serving our residents. And so we're looking for people who would do the same thing. So consider us as your next employer of choice.
It is a great place to work. Shannah and I will both definitely tell you that.
Yeah.
So one final reminder regarding council meetings this month. It's the holidays. And traditionally, when we move council meetings slightly to accommodate a holiday break. So instead of meeting on their normal second and fourth Mondays of the month, council will meet this month on Tuesday, December 7th and then the following week on Monday, December 13th.
Well, it's always good to think about the holidays because that reminds me that the year is coming to an end. So this is a wrap for 2021, and it's also a wrap for this episode of Inside Plano. As always, we appreciate our listeners and we appreciate you giving us a review. It helps other people find our show. And of course, we continue adding to our listeners every month. And we're thankful for each of you. If you have an idea or a question that you'd like us to address on a future episode, drop us a line at askplano@plano.gov. But until then, we'll see you in 2022. Bye, Steve.
Thank you, everybody. Bye, Shannah. See you next year.
Yep.
And that's it for our Inside Plano. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did doing it.
If you have any comments or suggestions, send them to us at askplano@plano.gov. Bye.
Talk to you next month. The Inside Plano podcast is brought to you by the City of Plano.